Please,
I know
I'm
I
begging
hurt you, but
Don't
please
do this.
think about
The
our
man's
child.
world collapsed when his
Give
ex-wife,
me another
the woman he
chance.
abandoned for being infertile, walked into their divorce hearing 6 months pregnant. But what she revealed next destroyed everything he thought he knew. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Before we dive into this emotional story, please hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss these powerful life stories. Your support means everything. Now, let's get into it. Marcus Bennett and Sophia had been the definition of a power couple. Their modern penthouse in Seattle overlooked the city skyline. Their careers thrived. Him as a corporate lawyer, her as an architect, and their social circle envied their seemingly perfect life. But beneath the surface, their marriage was crumbling under one devastating weight: infertility. 4 years had passed without children, 4 years of treatments, specialists, and disappointment. At first, Marcus was supportive, holding Sophia through tears after each negative test. "We'll figure this out together," he'd promised. But as months turned to years, his warmth transformed into coldness. His mother didn't help matters. Family gatherings became torture sessions, with pointed comments slicing through every conversation. A marriage without children is just incomplete, don't you think? Marcus, your brother, already has 2. When will you catch up? His younger sister would smirk across the dinner table, whispering just loud enough for Sophia to hear. Maybe she's just not built for motherhood. At first, Marcus defended her. But gradually, his defenses weakened. The frustration fermented into something darker: resentment. Arguments erupted over trivial things: burned toast, missed calls, forgotten errands. But they always circled back to the same poisonous accusation. 4 years, Sophia. 4 years and nothing. What kind of wife can't even do this one thing? Sophia tried everything. She researched adoption agencies, found new fertility specialists, suggested couples therapy. But Marcus refused it all. His pride wouldn't allow alternatives. He wanted a biological child, his legacy, his bloodline, and her body's refusal felt like a personal betrayal. Their bedroom became a war zone of silence. Marcus started working late, coming home smelling of expensive cologne that wasn't his usual scent. When Sophia confronted him, he didn't deny anything. "Maybe if you were actually a woman who could give me a family, I wouldn't need to find comfort elsewhere." The words cut deeper than any knife. One freezing November night, everything shattered. Rain hammered against their penthouse windows as thunder rolled across the city. Their argument escalated beyond anything before. Sophia's voice broke with desperation. "Marcus, please, don't throw away everything we built. We can still—" "Enough!" He slammed his hand on the marble counter, his face twisted with rage. "I'm done wasting my life. Pack your bags and get out. You're defective, Sophia. I need a wife who can actually give me children." Tears streamed down her face as she packed a single suitcase, her hands trembling. Every item felt impossibly heavy. The door slammed behind her with a finality that echoed through the empty hallway. She stood outside in the pouring rain, soaked to the bone, watching their penthouse lights from the street below. The security guard avoided eye contact. Neighbors peeked through their blinds but said nothing. Sophia was alone. But somewhere in that devastating moment, a spark of determination ignited. Marcus had labeled her as broken, as worthless. But deep down, she knew this wasn't the end of her story. It was just the beginning. Sophia moved into a small studio apartment in Capitol Hill. It wasn't much: exposed brick walls, creaky floors, a tiny kitchen. But it was hers. She painted one wall a deep teal, hung fairy lights, and filled the space with plants. Each choice was a declaration. She was reclaiming her life. The first weeks were brutal. Loneliness pressed down on her like a physical weight. She cooked simple meals for one, took long walks around Green Lake, and cried herself to sleep more nights than she could count. But slowly the fog began to lift. She joined a community art class at a local center, rediscovering her passion for painting. That's where she met James Rivera, a contractor who volunteered there on weekends, teaching woodworking to teens. Their first conversation was simple, almost forgettable, a comment about paintbrushes. But James had a warmth in his eyes that made her feel seen, not pitied. Over the following weeks, they kept running into each other, at the coffee shop, at the farmer's market, on evening walks. Each conversation flowed naturally, without pressure or pretense. James was everything Marcus wasn't. He asked about her dreams, her fears, her hopes, and he actually listened. When Sophia finally opened up about her marriage, the humiliation she'd endured, James didn't judge. He simply said, "You were never the problem, Sophia. Some people can't handle not being in control." Those words cracked something open inside her. Their friendship deepened into something more. James's quiet strength became her anchor. His laughter became her joy. And unlike Marcus, who had demanded and controlled, James simply offered support, patience, and genuine love. 6 months after leaving Marcus, Sophia began noticing changes in her body. Nausea in the mornings, exhaustion that wouldn't lift, a missed period. When she took the pregnancy test and saw 2 pink lines, she collapsed onto the bathroom floor, laughing and sobbing simultaneously. After years of being told she was infertile, being blamed and shamed, here was proof that she never had been the problem. James found her there, tears streaming down her face. Without a word, he pulled her into his arms. "We're in this together," he whispered. "This is our life now." Pregnancy transformed Sophia. Every doctor's appointment, every flutter of movement, every ultrasound was a victory. James was there for all of it, painting the nursery in soft yellows and grays, reading parenting books, talking to her growing belly. For the first time in years, Sophia felt whole. The pain of her past became distant, a shadow that no longer controlled her. Meanwhile, Marcus had filed for divorce, assuming Sophia would simply sign the papers without contest. He imagined the court hearing as a formality, quick, clean, and final. He had no idea what was coming. If you're enjoying this story, do me a favor and drop a like on this video, and share it with someone who needs to hear this message today. Marcus walked into the King County Courthouse on that cold March morning, radiating confidence. His charcoal suit was perfectly tailored, his Italian leather shoes polished to a mirror shine. He scanned the courtroom with the assurance of a man who believed he'd already won. His lawyer whispered last-minute reminders, but Marcus barely listened. He was certain Sophia wouldn't show. She'd be too humiliated, too broken. "She knows she can't fight this," he muttered to himself. Judge Anderson entered, robes flowing, and called the room to order. "We're here for Bennett versus Bennett. Is the petitioner ready?" Marcus nodded, straightening his tie. Everything was going according to plan. Then the courtroom doors opened. The room fell silent. Sophia walked in with measured, deliberate steps. She wore a flowing emerald dress that accentuated her rounded belly, 6 months pregnant and absolutely radiant. The whispers started immediately, spreading through the gallery like wildfire. Marcus's eyes widened. The pen slipped from his trembling fingers and clattered to the floor. His face drained of all color. "No," he breathed, barely audible. His lawyer leaned in frantically. "Sir, maintain composure." But Marcus couldn't hear anything over the roaring in his ears. His entire reality was imploding. The woman he'd called infertile, the wife he'd cast aside as defective, was standing before him, pregnant. Questions exploded in his mind. Was it his? Had their last attempt before he threw her out somehow worked? Or had another man given her what he couldn't? Sophia moved gracefully to her seat, one hand resting protectively on her belly. She didn't look at Marcus. Not yet. The judge attempted to proceed. "Mrs. Bennet, please be seated. Mr. Bennet, you may—" But Marcus wasn't listening. His knees felt weak. Sweat beaded on his forehead. Years of accusations, of cruelty, of absolute certainty, all of it crashed down on him in that single moment. Finally, Sophia lifted her eyes and met his gaze. There was no anger, no satisfaction, just calm, unshakable strength. The courtroom seemed to hold its breath. Marcus's lawyer nudged him. "Sir, you need to present your case." But Marcus couldn't move. His carefully prepared arguments dissolved. The control he'd always maintained evaporated. For the first time in his life, Marcus Bennet was powerless. Something inside Marcus snapped. All pretense of dignity crumbled. He lurched forward, ignoring his lawyer's frantic whispers, and dropped to his knees in the middle of the courtroom. Gasps rippled through the audience. "Sophia, please." His voice cracked, raw and desperate. "Don't do this. That baby, it's mine, isn't it? Please, come back. I'll change. I swear I'll change." The courtroom froze, every eye locked on the spectacle unfolding. Judge Anderson banged his gavel. "Mr. Bennet, you are out of order. Return to your seat immediately." But Marcus didn't move. Tears streamed down his face as he reached toward Sophia, as if he could physically pull her back into his life. "I was wrong. I called you infertile. I blamed you for everything. But I see it now." His words dissolved into sobs. "Please don't take this from me. We can fix this. I love you." Sophia remained perfectly still, her expression unreadable. She'd imagined this moment countless times, but seeing Marcus, the man who destroyed her, broken and begging before her, was surreal. "Sophia, please," Marcus's voice grew more frantic. "That child is mine. It has to be. Just give me another chance." His lawyer tugged at his arm. "Sir, stop. You're embarrassing yourself." "I don't care," Marcus shouted. "Sophia, I'll do anything, anything." The gallery murmured with a mixture of shock and pity. Some spectators leaned forward, captivated by the raw emotional breakdown. Sophia finally spoke, her voice calm and clear. "Ethan, this isn't a negotiation. You made your choice when you called me defective and threw me out in the rain. You don't get to undo that now. But the baby— Stand up, Marcus." Her tone was ice. Marcus shook his head violently. "No, no, please. I see everything clearly now. I was blind, that child." The courtroom doors opened again. James Rivera entered, wearing a crisp navy suit, moving with quiet confidence. Every eye turned to watch him walk directly to Sophia. He bent down and pressed a gentle kiss to her temple, a gesture both intimate and territorial. Marcus's face went slack with shock. James straightened and met Marcus's eyes with calm certainty. No malice, no gloating, just the unmistakable presence of a man who belonged there. Sophia's voice cut through the silence like a blade. "For 4 years you called me infertile. You humiliated me. You blamed me for something that was never my fault." She paused, letting the words sink in. "The truth is, Marcus, it was you who had the fertility issues, not me." The courtroom erupted. Gasps, whispers, stunned silence. Marcus's entire body went rigid. His mind reeled, unable to process what he'd just heard. That's not," he stammered. Sophia's lawyer stood, producing a manila folder. "We have medical documentation confirming that Mr. Bennet was diagnosed with severe oligospermia, extremely low sperm count, 3 years ago. He hid this information from his wife and instead allowed her to believe she was the problem." The room exploded with murmurs. Marcus's face turned ashen. I didn't want you to know. I thought if I kept trying, if I blamed—" You destroyed our marriage to protect your ego, Sophia said, her voice steady. And when your pride couldn't handle the truth, you cast me aside like I was worthless. She stood, James at her side, and placed both hands on her belly. This child is proof that I was never the problem. You destroyed everything because you couldn't face your own inadequacy. And now, Marcus, it's far too late. Marcus collapsed fully onto the floor, his hands scraping against the cold tile. Every ounce of pride, every shred of dignity, gone. Judge Anderson banged his gavel repeatedly. Order! Mr. Bennett, compose yourself or you will be removed from this courtroom. But Marcus was beyond hearing. His entire world had shattered. Everything he'd believed about himself, about Sophia, about their marriage, all of it was a lie he'd built to protect his own fragile ego. Sophia and James walked toward the exit, their steps synchronized. She didn't look back. There was no need. Behind them, Marcus remained on the floor, broken, while his lawyer desperately tried to salvage what little remained of the proceedings. The courtroom watched in stunned silence as the woman Marcus had discarded walked out, radiant, victorious, and free. Before we wrap up, if this story resonated with you, please subscribe and hit the bell icon. We share powerful stories like this every week, and your support helps us reach more people who need to hear these messages. Life has a way of revealing truth, no matter how deeply we try to bury it. Pride, cruelty, and the refusal to face our own flaws can destroy everything we claim to love. Marcus Bennett spent years blaming Sophia for something that was never her fault. He hid his own inadequacy behind accusations and cruelty, and when the truth could no longer be concealed, he lost everything. Not because of infertility, but because of his character. Sophia's strength wasn't just in surviving. It was in refusing to let someone else's judgment define her worth. She rebuilt her life, found genuine love, and discovered that the problem had never been her body. It was the man who'd weaponized shame to protect his ego. True worth is never determined by someone else's cruelty, and sometimes being pushed aside is exactly what we need to discover a better life. So, what do you think? Could Marcus have handled things differently, or was his downfall inevitable? Have you ever been blamed for something that wasn't your fault? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Remember, your value isn't determined by anyone else's insecurities. Stand strong, love yourself, and never let someone else's pride destroy your happiness. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next story.